All right, guys, welcome to Go Bananas with your open houses. Thanks for showing up. I'm actually happy that so many of you showed up. Guys, open houses are a great way to get leads, but today I'm going to teach you how to use open houses to get listings. All right, so we're going to get buyer walkthrough, but if you do this right, you can do an open house and you can get listings. So I've themed this Go Bananas with your open house. I had this thing all planned out, and then several months back I went to a Savannah Bananas game, and I ended up changing my entire presentation because of this Savannah Bananas game that I went to. So how many of you are familiar with Savannah Bananas? All right, so we got quite a few. So the Savannah Bananas play in Savannah, Georgia at Grayson Stadium in a little park there, and that stadium's been there since 1922. And some of the baseball greats like Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, Mickey Mantle have all played in that stadium. If you're a baseball person, that's amazing because all those guys aren't around anymore. They played baseball there a long time ago. Grayson Stadium is the oldest continuously run minor league baseball stadium in America. So that's another pretty cool thing about Grayson Stadium. So Grayson Stadium seats 4,000 people, and they very rarely ever sold out. So then this guy comes in with a college pickup team. They call it a summer league, and it's a real league. It's a Coastal Plains division, and he tried to change the entire, he's actually trying to change baseball itself, which is a really cool concept because this guy comes in and says, I'm going to make my own rules and I'm going to go a little bit bananas. Now the cool thing about Savannah Bananas is they let the city name the team. So it was a Savannah something, and Savannah Bananas won. So they just picked up on that bananas theme and went bananas with it. So when you walk up to the stadium, you have the Van Nana, which is a 1969 Volkswagen bus, all painted and decked out with banana stuff. The dance team is the Nanas, the Nan Nanas. So the Nan Nanas, in order to be a Nan Nana, you have to be 65 and older, and you got to be able to dance. So that's their dance team. So their mascot here, somebody tell me, who knows what the mascot's name is? When I tell it to you, you're going to freak out. Because it's so easy. It's Banana Split. So this guy comes in with this baseball team and he says, we're going to go a little bit nuts. We're going to go a little bit bananas. And so what I want to teach you today is how to go a little bit bananas. Why do I have this outfit on? I got this outfit on. If I walk out in the parking lot right now, people are going to look at me like I'm a zebra walking through the parking lot. They're going to say, what in the world has that guy got on? They're going to notice me. So what I want to happen is I want buyers to notice you, but more importantly, I want sellers that are going to come on the market to notice you. All right, so what I'm going to do today is teach you some techniques. But before I do that, I want to show you how Savannah Bananas is trying to change the game of baseball. So these are banana ball rules. If you watched, the Savannah Bananas were just recently on ESPN just the other night. So the banana balls, every inning counts as 1 point. So the person who gets the most runs gets 1 point. The baseball game is 2 hours. After an hour and 50 minutes, they don't start another inning. So 2 hours, it's over. All right, so this Savannah Bananas is like a circus with a baseball game in between, or a baseball with a circus in between innings. It is nuts. There's a 2 hour limit. There's no stepping out. If you step out of the batter's box to fix your gloves or whatever, you're called a strike right there on the spot. If you bunt, you're kicked out of the ball game. The bunting is boring. So there's no bunting in Savannah Banana baseball. Batters can steal first. All right, so this is a pretty cool one. So if the pitcher throws the ball, the catcher misses it, it goes to the backstop, the batter can run to first base. If he makes it to first base without getting thrown out, it's a base hit, or it's a stolen base. So stealing first, never heard of that in baseball. No walks allowed. So this is a good one. There is no walking in banana ball. So in order to get, if someone gets 4 balls, at the 4th ball, the batter starts to run to first base. Every person on the field has to touch the ball, and they try to get him out at second or third. So in other words, they have to throw, so all the players run in and they all touch the ball, throw, then throw it to whatever base he's almost to try to get him out. So there's no walking in baseball. In a tiebreaker, it's a one-on-one showdown. So it's a pitcher, a catcher, and a batter, and then there's one fielder. So whoever gets the most runs wins, and if you hit it over here, the guy's got to run it, try to get him out at home. So there's a one-on-one showdown to break a tie. The coach can't go to the mound, so what are they trying to do? They're trying to shrink the amount. This guy believes that traditionally, baseball is boring. So they're trying to cut down on the time limit of 4-hour ball games. So here's a really cool one. So if a fan catches a ball, it's an out. No matter which team it is, whether it's Savannah Bananas, they play the Makin' Bacon. Anybody heard of Makin' Bacon? They also play, some of us have heard of that. So they also play the Party Animals. So the Party Animals in the Savannah Bananas, so it's like a show. So they're playing, they're all Savannah Bananas, but Party Animals, they do their crazy stuff. Savannah Bananas does their crazy stuff. And it's just like a Globetrotter show. They have sold out since 2015, every single game. That is amazing. So this guy came in and did something a little bit different. He got noticed, he was recognized. Now people are looking for tickets on the streets because you can't find them. The day one they go on sale, they're already bought. So corporations have bought them out and give this out to people all over Savannah. So they have completely sold out. That's amazing to think that before the Savannah Banana showed up, they have 200 or 300 people in the stands. That's it. So to go from that to 4,000, you get free food. So you get hot dogs, hamburgers, just basically grill food is free. Drinks are free with your ticket price, except for alcoholic beverages. At the end of the ball game, all the Savannah Bananas come out in their uniforms, and the band Bananas, they come out. They come out and play, and it's a 20 or 30-minute party after the ball game out in front of the stadium. It's one of the coolest things, one of the coolest events I've ever been to. So, having seen the Savannah Bananas and knowing what I've done in the past in real estate, I used to hold I've held hundreds of open houses. So back after the open house after the crash, I was working with a company called, I don't even know the name of it, but I was working with a company and we held open houses for foreclosed properties. So if any of you remember 10, 12, 15 years ago, these yellow bank-owned open house signs with an arrow in the middle of a median, that was me. That was me and our team. So we were doing bank-owned open houses, and we would line a highway with 10 or 12 signs on each side to get as many walkthroughs as we could. So group participation, why do we hold open houses? Somebody.
To get more buyers as clients.
Okay, to get more buyers as clients. Who else has got something?
Make the sellers think that you're working hard to sell.
How many of you wrote in the listing agreement, I'm gonna hold an open house? Dadgummit, I gotta go hold an open house because I said I would. I didn't sell it in the first weekend, so now I gotta go hold an open house. So we do it because we told them we would. So here it is. It was part of my listing pitch. I'm holding an open house because I said I would, and dadgummit, I didn't sell it the first weekend out, so now I gotta set up this open house. To bring awareness to your listing and possibly find a buyer for it. It does happen on occasion. To possibly run into a buyer who doesn't have a signed listing agreement with someone else. So buyer shows up, walks up to the door back after the crash. Guys, 60-70% of the real estate agents got out of the business because they couldn't make any money. So there are a lot of people running around without an agent, and we were just sucking them up, working with buyers left and right. Now that's a little bit different because we got like so many freaking agents out on the streets right now that it's hard to run into somebody like that, but that has changed, and it's going to change as we go into this downturn. The reason this is so important is because of the downturn we're about to go into. You guys are going to have to stand out a little bit. Your clients asked you or expected you to hold an open house to get your brokerage and other brokerage agents to view the property for their current client base, and to participate in an agent caravan, which is the same thing as you invite brokerages out to show the property to other people. Now, when you hold an open house, a lot of times the most important part is getting traffic to the open house. That's the difficult part. So if you're driving around Ackworth, wherever you're from, if you're driving around and you see one open house sign on the road, you might catch an eye on it, but if they would have had 10 signs up, wouldn't you been like, have you ever been driving down the road, peaches for sale next exit, another quarter-mile, peaches for sale next exit, another quarter-mile, peaches for sale next exit? You're like, you know what? There's peaches there at that next exit. I think I might pull over and get some peaches. Same things with signs. And I put signs, and more signs. That's one of your most important pieces of an open house sign to get buyer walk-through traffic. All right, you want to put these signs out. I'll show you a picture here in a minute. All right, social media advertising is going to be important. You need to paste this on your Facebook page. All right, why do you put it on your Facebook page? All right, so you might get some people to walk through, but what are you telling your client base? Your Facebook, I'm working. I'm doing an open house, and if you work with me, I'm gonna hold an open house for you. So you're basically advertising the fact that you're out working, doing open houses. And if you do it right, they're gonna be like, dang, that girl did a good job. Or dang, that boy did a good job. And when I go to sell my house, I'm gonna remember it. And if you do it on a regular basis, you come first in mind when they think about listing their house. So don't do it just to look cool. You're doing it intentionally to get future listings from your client base or your base of leads. Mailers and postcards. Guys, this is, we're gonna talk a lot about this here in a few minutes, but mailers and postcards is where this is at, all right? We had an open house. One of our agents had an open house this past Sunday, mailed out 350 cards or flyers. I think she mailed out flyers. She had about 30 plus people show up, 8 families for a fly-in neighborhood. Now you think, fly-in neighborhood. This was out in the middle of the sticks. I mean, the main road coming in, there may have been 50, maybe 25 drive-by cars the whole 2 hours that the open house, so signs weren't gonna do it. So then it's a fly-in community. We can't really do a mailer with a circle around the property because the only people that were interested in that property already live in the neighborhood. There wasn't another fly-in neighborhood around there. So what she did is she went to Remind Pro, looked at neighborhoods that were fly-in neighborhoods, and she mailed out 350 flyers to people who live on fly-in neighborhoods. I was amazed that she had so many people show up. So she did something a little bit different. She went a little bit bananas on this as well. She had a jumpy there. So some of you may have saw the video of me on the jumpy on our Facebook page. So basically she advertised that we're having an open house, bring your kids, we got a jumpy, this is gonna be awesome, come show up. And people showed up. And I was really amazed that that happened because it's a fly-in community. It's like, how do I find a buyer for a fly-in community? That's a difficult process. So the Go Bananas open house worked. She called it Baby Bananas because she didn't have a food truck. You can go crazy food truck. You can do popcorn stand. You can do a cotton candy stand, whatever it is to get noticed in the neighborhood. And you put that on your invite. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got mailers and postcards, flyers, refreshments. This one I went had really nice fruit cups. All right, so it was not just the cookie cutter, the regular cookies. She did fruit cups. She had some, if you saw the photos, she had some icing covered with her logo. She is the aviator agent. She's branded herself, and so everything's branded as the aviator agent. She sent out postcards and flyers to people who live on a flight. They live on a runway. So it all works, and she's an ex-Delta pilot. So she's basically marketing herself as, hey guys, I know what you do for a living because I did it. And I know, look, there are different loans for runway properties. It's not, so there was an aviator lender Called the aviator lender, he was there. He had an aviator, I can't remember what his name was, but it's a whole different ballgame. So knowledge, guys, you gotta continue learning in this business. If you don't continue learning, what's gonna happen is when you get asked a question, you don't know the answer to it, you're not gonna look stupid, but the people are gonna think, if she don't know the answer to that, what else does she not know? So the more knowledge you have, the more the answers are on the tip of your tongue, which is gonna build your confidence level, and it's gonna build their confidence level in you. So you've gotta continue to learn in this business. If you don't, you're gonna lag behind and you're gonna miss 2 or 3 deals. You might miss, if you get a bunch of walk-through traffic or gets people to show up and get in front of leads, you're gonna miss 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 deals a year. Guys, that's the difference between a really good year or just an okay year or a really bad year. So keep that in mind. The more knowledge you have, the better off your career is going to be moving forward. Always pay attention to safety concerns when you're holding an open house. Ladies, if 2 of you, bring your husband. Guys, I used to hold them by myself or I'd hold them with a partner. This last one, we had 2 ladies working that. Just pay attention to safety concerns. You can read up on the internet how to do that. Ladies, don't both be over in one corner of the house so you can get trapped there. Always be separate. Have a telephone on, all that fun stuff. Sign-in sheets. So this one, I actually took a picture of Emily's register. Emily helped Morgan on that open house, and I took a sign-in register, and it was a hand sign-in. So in the future, and there is stuff out there now, you can do a sign-in app. So you can actually have them sign in on an iPad if you wanted to. In the future, they're going to be able to sign in and go right into our tele-agent, and you'll be able to market them from there. Digital versus paper sign-in, decide what you're going to do there. Let's see what our next. So guys, when I talk about signs placement, so imagine this, if you sent out postcards to a neighborhood like Brookstone. If anybody doesn't know what Brookstone is, there's several thousand houses in Brookstone. So if you had a house in Brookstone, and I'm gonna show you a picture of Brookstone here in a minute, that's actually is from a postcard vendor. But if you send out postcards to the neighbors, 200, 300, 400, 500 of them, you invite them to this house, there's a jumpy, or a popcorn machine or something like that, they come to the open house, or they just get your postcard and say, hey, this person's actually getting it on the street, you're gonna help become first in mind. So after you send that initial postcard, you send a just sold. So you send an invitation to the open house, just listed. At the end, you send it just sold, and then you have a person in your database because you purchased that address and phone number, or that address and name. So you have a person in your database so you can market more later on down the road. It's basically what we call geofarming. And a lot of you have seen this happen in neighborhoods where one agent will actually take over the neighborhood and they become the person, the go-to person in the neighborhood. I don't see it as much as I used to because they didn't have to advertise. They didn't have to do this kind of stuff over the past 3-5 years, because as soon as you put something out on the market, it's gone. It was kind of bananas the way this market is gone. So I haven't seen them advertise as much. So what's gonna happen with you guys, we need to basically fill that gap. Let's start doing some advertising and holding open houses. I would love for Fathom to be known in Georgia as the place that does great open houses. What's that gonna do? That's gonna help all of us get more listings. Every one of us will get more listings because when I Fathom Realty, we see them all over the place every Saturday. If we have 10, 15 open houses around Metro Atlanta, guys, we got 300 plus agents here in Metro Atlanta. We can certainly do 15 or 20 open houses a weekend. So think about that. Let's see, sign placement is important. Place signs out. I've got 3 to 5 days prior to the event. You gotta be careful with that, because if you're an HOA or something like that, you might wanna scale that back, because these signs are not cheap anymore. And they disappear. So if you buy signs, buy a bunch of them, or prepare to go buy more. Hit all major intersections. So the other day I saw a not banana house, open house. It was So I drove down Hill Road, which is off of Highway 41, which is a 4-lane. You go down Hill Road and there was one sign, set at a street going to the left. They go down, take a left, and there's one sign going to the right to the neighborhood, and they had one sign in the yard that said open house today. And there was a agent parked backwards, wasn't anybody at the open house. It was during the open house. I didn't go in because she was probably resting, because nobody was showing up. So if I'd have done that open house, I would have hit Highway 41 in the median. I parked my car, hit Highway 41 in the median with 4 or 5 signs on each side of the intersection at Mars Hill Road, pointing down Mars Hill Road. Then I'd have 2, 3, or 4 signs going to the left to go down to the house, and then I'd have 1 or 2 at the beginning of the neighborhood, and then I'd have a bouncy in the front yard. They know that it's the open house, or y'all can get one of those wavy men to get out there in the front yard. Bring attention to yourself. So let's see, make sure your mailers hit 3 to 5 days before the open house. So if you plan ahead, if you can plan your listing a week or 2 ahead, you can probably get these postcards out in a week. But if you plan your listing a week or 2 ahead, that's going to help you so you can actually do the open house first day on the market or second day on the market. Go on the market on a Friday, hold an open house Saturday and or Sunday. Advertise it, prepare for it. That way you don't sell the house before you hold an open house. That becomes a problem, because if you got an open house and you got an offer that came in, what do we do? Do we cancel the open house? I've already spent some money on this. Door knocking. You want to knock on the doors, on the neighbor's doors, 1, because they may be a future client, but 2, you want to let them know, look, I'm expecting some traffic in the neighborhood. They're going to have to be parking in front of your yard. I just want to let you know we're going to have a party next door. Come on over. All right. That's going to help you not get the neighbors mad at you, but it also puts you in front of somebody who might be selling their home in 6 months or a year. So if I'm doing a house, I do the 2 to the right, 2 to the left, the 4 across the street. All right. So if you're in the neighborhood. Balloons a day of event. Guys, if you put balloons out on Highway 41, DOT might get in trouble. You might get in trouble with DOT for blocking a view. But the other thing is the wind will blow and it'll hit the tall grass and it'll pop. So don't waste your money or time tying balloons on the major intersections. Put balloons out on the house, at the house. That's really it. Anywhere else you put them, it'll hit the corner of the sign, it'll pop. I don't tell you how many times I went and had pop balloons just hanging there. So keep that in mind. Let's move on to the next slide. So this is geofarming. When you're talking about geofarming, basically what you're doing is you're going out and finding an area around your house. So with the fly-in community or with a rural community, that's going to be a little bit tough. So every situation is going to be different. So geofarming, you're trying to hit an area and you want to farm that area. So here in Metro Atlanta, there's neighborhoods everywhere. There's plenty of geofarming that you can do. So when you get a listing in a neighborhood, you start geofarming that neighborhood or the 3 or 4 neighborhoods around that house. All right, geographic farming is the most powerful way to grow and maintain a successful real estate business. It allows you to establish your brand. Now, at Fathom, you get to brand yourself. All right, so we want you to establish your brand and centralize your listings and sales in a geographic area. How many of you would love to just work in Ackworth all the time, or Ackworth, Kennesaw, instead of driving to Monroe or wherever's 2 hours from your house? That would be awesome. So to be a successful farmer, you must commit to an area and understand it's a marathon, not a sprint. All right, guys, if you hold banana open houses, we're going to turn that more into a sprint than we are a marathon. So geofarming traditionally is sending out, hi, my name's Heidi the house hunter. I'm a real estate agent. Hey. And that's it.
Well, see you later.
So Heidi is going to have to hit them 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times before a couple of them, and that takes months and money, lots of money. Hey, my name's Heidi the house hunter. We're having a party at 123 Main Street. Come join us, bring the kids. We're going to have a bouncy, we're going to have popcorn. We might have a clown. Don't do a clown because clowns aren't popular anymore. but we're going to have a party at this open house. Come see us. All right, so you do that, and then I'm in Brookstone, and I do one in Brookstone with somebody that I hit. Let's say I hit 400 people. All right, somebody that I hit showed up at that because they were thinking about selling their house. I got a real good chance of getting their listing. 2 months later, hey, howdy house hunter, I'm here, we're gonna have a party at 245 Main Street. Come out and see us, we're gonna have a bounce, we're gonna have a popcorn machine. Man, I got so good at this, we're gonna have a food truck. Who's done a food truck for an open house? You invite enough people and get big enough, food trucks will show up at your open house just to sell their stuff and get their name out there. So when we say go bananas, I'm talking, yeah, let's go bananas with this. I have a food truck. If you invite 500 people, I got a food truck that'll show up at your house, at your open house. If you can schedule it, and he'll sell his chicken there, and he wants to get his name out there. So let me know if you do a Go Bananas open house and you actually spend the money to invite 500 people, we'll show up. I'll show up and bounce on the bouncy. All right, I did it. I already did it. I did it this past weekend. Open houses are effective. Our open house is effective real estate. In addition to being a strategy to sell that particular home, open houses have become a way for agents to connect with other agents, prospect and collect buyer leads. Open houses are effective for sellers because hosting an open house helps them see how much general interest exists in their local real estate market. All right, so open houses are a good fact-finding mission. Guys, if you don't have people show up to the open house, you put out one sign at the main intersection and one sign in front of the, guess what's gonna happen? You might have 2 people show up. You might have nobody show up. And when your client asks you, how many people did you have show up? Oh, it was a little slow. Only a few or none. And they're like, oh my gosh, did you not market this? So when I just put one sign out, it's a waste of your time. Just to be straight up with you, putting one sign out at a major intersection is a waste. You're going to get 1 or 2, but if you have 5 or 6 of these bright yellow signs, people are going to pay attention, and you're going to find and attract the buyers, and you'll get the buyer walk-through traffic, but you're also getting postcard walk-through traffic. All right, that's key. All right, so that's what a neighborhood looks like. I'm going to pinpoint one house in this neighborhood, and this is Prospects Plus. So I selected 200. I just drew that. So this is actually Mars Hill Road. This is Brookstone, which is a couple exits up. But I just clicked on 274 homes, and I bought their names and addresses for $21.92. So I could actually target those people. Here's my house for sale. This is what my open house is going to be. So I just hit all those people and said, party at our place, come on over. All right, so $21.92 just for 274, double that for 500, it's going to be what, 45 bucks? All right, here's the cool thing. You do your postcards and you can mail and hit all those 200 plus people really for 67 cents per postcard. So just a regular standard postcard, 1 through 100 is 67 cents. It drops to 64 cents if you get 500. But you can do 500 postcards for 64 cents. Somebody do calculation on 500 times 0.64. 320 bucks. You just paid 320 bucks to market 500 people in a neighborhood that you want to geo-farm. And you can do that 2 or 3 times. And if you start, you got to spend money to make money in this business. If you haven't figured that out, if you haven't, what do we got? You're going to tell me the number? 300?
Oh, for 500?
500.
Yeah, what was it, 0.64?
Yeah.
Yeah, 320.
320 bucks.
Plus the 40 for the names, right?
Plus the 40 for the names. So 300, what is it? That makes it 340.
No, 360.
360. 360. All right, so you pay 360 bucks to invite all these people to the open house. You can take it a step further and send out just sold. You don't have to send it to all 500. You can send it to 250 to the closest, or do 500 again. So Morgan Van Zyl sent out 350 flyers. All right, and those flyers with the jumpy, the flyers. She thought she was about 600 in, but it's actually cheaper than that after she took a closer look at it. So she ended up getting a buyer and seller just from the postcards. So it was another, she's an aviator realtor, and this was another person who lived on a fly-in neighborhood. They wanted to sell their 450 home and buy another home around 450. That's $900,000 in volume that she got for $600 or less, because she did an open house, she went a little bananas, and she did the postcards. That's 918, that's $27,000 potential commission. How many? I'll trade 600, I'll trade 1,000, I'll trade $4,000 a day, every day of my life for 27,000.
Got another offer from that open house.
And so she got multiple offers on the open house because she did a bananas open house. Guys, I'm telling you, this stuff works if you just get out there and do it and invest a little bit of money. These signs here are $8 a piece. All right. This is from Signs and More. You can call them. They got this on. All right. So this was a little bit of screw up, so we're getting them fixed. Yeah, that's a problem. We're getting this fixed. I was gonna actually sell these for you guys, but when I got there, this happened. It was an accident. It was my fault. But anyway, need to arrow this way on the other side so you can flip flop it and use it anywhere. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these fixed and put an arrow on this side, because they print these out in big, huge sheets and then they cut them. So to have them redo each one of them individually is cheaper to buy more. So I'm trying to get Farmer Signs to put these on their site, but they don't do the yellow. In fact, this was white and they painted yellow. The yellow is key. If it's just a white sign, it doesn't catch your eye. So yellow is key. That's something we learned a long time ago. So if you have 4 or 5 of these, people are going to notice them. All right. I would love to see the Fathom branding on there. All right, for the open houses, because if we all do this together, we're all going to benefit from it. Keep that in mind. Signs and More in Cartersville. Call up there, tell them, look, I want a Fathom open house sign like Rob Fountain had made up. Want both sides, and get a price for them. If several of you link up together, go and buy bulk, buy 100. All right, buy 100 at a time and split them up 50-50 or 25, 25, 25, and 25. That'll save you some money. And establish a relationship with them, because these are gonna disappear. There's no doubt about it, they disappear. But the $8 includes the $2 8 steak. So, so it's not, it's expensive, but it's worth it. All right, so, and then if you spend the money on the signs, you can use them over and over and over again. So keep that in mind.
Rob,
Yes,
just
yes.
for the group, I don't know what area everyone works here, but I do a lot of this mailing stuff, and I do almost 1,400 homes. And the guy that owns the UPS, my local UPS in like Woodstock, cost me about 700. And you so the map, I think it's a little less, and he gets the addresses and everything for you, so it's like on my plates. I just give him my design.
Yeah, so.
1,400 homes and 700, I think it might be a little bit. So I did like a trial this year just to think this psychologically it's supposed to be 7 times. That's why if you think about your neighborhoods, who's showing up consistently? What real estate agent? In mine, none. You might get one here and there, but no one is like really. So I did 7, and I did them very aggressive. Every 6 weeks, I hit them every 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
Along with other things too. And I have our community has a magazine that goes out 6 times a year. That was super expensive, but I got the back cover, a contract for the whole year. So again, it's just branding. Like you might not necessarily get a call from that magazine, but it's the constant out there. I did actually have one listing from the mailer, one listing from the magazine, and I don't know, probably about $1.2 million.
That's awesome.
So,
Guys, it is a marathon. You've got to consistently put money into your business. You're the CEO of your business at Fathom. I can't do the work for you. I'm not going to hand you my leads. Your friend next to you right now, probably not going to hand you their leads. So you have to get out and figure out a way to generate leads. We also have tons and tons of listings out there. If you put on Facebook, I'm ready to do a Go Bananas open house. Now, doing that, you need to work that out with the agent, because you're doing a mailer, and if you do a mailer with that, you might want to think twice about that. You may only want to do that with your listings. Anyway, that's something you can work out. Here's farmer signs. These are the small, these signs, I wish I'd have brought one. They're small, they're black, they're not noticeable. I don't like them, so I'm asking farmer to actually, and that little bitty sign right there, 4 of them, it's $13.64. They're expensive. If you buy 100, you can get them for $4.09 a piece. But I'm thinking that we're gonna be able to get somebody to do these signs for maybe $6 a piece at 100, I don't know. That doesn't include the H stakes. I don't know how much the H stakes are, but they're usually run about $2 a piece, so that 100 is probably $6 a piece.
What's the dimension of these? Because I can ask the.
This is 18 by, I think it's 18 by 24. That's a normal real estate sign. I wanted to go blue.
I like blue.
You like the blue? My wife said it looked too much like a carnival. I was like, well, maybe that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And it goes with the Go Bananas.
Go Bananas.
They did it in black, and my wife says, that looks more professional. I was like, I don't know if I want to go for professional. I want to go a little crazy. I mean, the first time I walked out in this outfit, I said, babe, what do you think? She goes, that's a little overkill. And I looked at her, and I was like, that's exactly what I wanted. I want to look like a zebra walking through the parking lot outside. So if you do it in blue, here's the problem with sign ordering. The more colors you do, the more costly it is. So you got a yellow, you got a blue, you got a black, you got a grayish. Really cool. It looks really cool, but you may, driving by at 40 miles an hour, that doesn't really matter. So you can make all of this black and red. So you have black, red, and yellow. But if you did black, red, and blue, that would look really cool, but make sure the pricing it works out for you. All right, we're moving on. This is getting close to the end of the presentation. Advertise your open house with directional signs. Do your neighbor knock. This is a summary, so take a picture of this. It's kind of a summary. Like I said, I'm getting this on video, so hopefully I didn't say something stupid and not be able to use it. Hopefully it's still videotaping, because last time it cut out at 40 minutes. Advertise the open house in your MLS feeds, on your social media. Remember, you're not doing it to get people to come to the open house. Only you're doing it to advertise yourself. Hey, look at me, I hold open houses and it's gonna be cool. I want you to show up and see the party. And I'd love to throw one at your house. Mail postcards, advertising flyers out. Make sure they get to the home 2 to 5 days prior to the event. Guys, I'm a big flyer freak about this. When you're doing an open house, don't let the client or the potential buyer or the person go grab a flyer before they walk through the house. They walk through the house looking at the flyer. They don't look at the house. You want to hand it to them after they leave. I got fired once from a company, from a client, because they grabbed a flyer, and walking through the house, I knew what was going to happen, and the mother read the flyer, and at the end of the walkthrough, I asked her, I said, so what did you notice about the house? And she goes, well, it's got this, this, and this. I said, you didn't even look at the house. So she got offended and fired me. So, but I proved the point that if they have something that they're looking at, they're not looking at what's going on. Now, here's a question I asked Cindy Moran. You can't answer this. All right, how many of you can sell a house? How many of you think you can sell a house? All right, almost everybody. All right, everybody raise their hand. All right, none of you can sell a house. All right, that's not an insult. All right, not a single one of you can sell a house, because you cannot sell someone. You can't sell them a house if they don't want it. The house sells itself. All right, so if we stop trying to be a salesman and start working on being an advocate for our clients, that's where the referrals come in at. if you're an advocate for your client. All right, so when I go into a house, Cindy Moran, I point out the flaws. I sold Cindy a house before she was an agent. Every house we walked into, I said, there's a problem there, that's gonna be a problem. Cindy liked that because I was actually looking out for her best interest. And when she realized I was looking out for her best interest, she trusted me and she referred me to her friends. She liked me so much, she became a freaking agent. Now I lost all of that business that she was sending me. So remember that when people get in a rut and they're not making money in real estate, they try to sell homes, and that is the biggest pitfall you can run into. Now, I'm notorious for going down rabbit holes, and that was a rabbit hole, but that was something you needed to hear. I was in a basement of a house. The lady I was shopping with brought a friend with her, and when we went to the basement of the house, my client looked at me and said, "What do you think about this house, Rob?" And I just started rattling off everything. I said, "I don't think this is the house for you." The lady, the friend, her jaw dropped. And she goes, "Oh my God," she actually cursed. She said, "Holy something." And she goes, "I can't believe you just told her not to buy this house." She goes, "My agent tried to get me to buy every house we went into." And I said, "Man, you should have fired him and worked with me." Because, but she had already closed. But she was just amazed that I was actually an advocate for my client. I wasn't going to put her in a house or recommend a house to her. I wouldn't put my mama in, or my grandmother, or my daughter, or my friend, or my client. So keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is open house tips. Dress appropriately. Wear your name tag. So a lot of you got stickers because you forgot to wear your name tag when you come to a Fathom event. Wear your name tag so we know who you are. Don't be a secret agent. We don't like secret agents. Arrive in time enough to set out. Now guys, in the heat of the summer, especially for you ladies, you're gonna sweat. Take a change of clothes if you need to, 30 minutes to cool off, or 40 if it takes longer. Turn the air down at the house when you stop by the house. Check, make sure everything's ready. Turn the air down a little bit so when you get back it's cool. Get permission to do that. Play background music. We got, go ahead and jump playing in the background here. I don't know if the video is picking that up or not, but play some background music. Provide refreshments, individually wrapped snacks. Water works best. Provide feedback for the owners. Follow up with potential buyers. Guys, it does you no good to collect names if you don't follow up with them. Zero. There is zero benefit if you don't follow up with them. Because they're going to be, "Oh, yeah, the open house, that was great." But if you call them and say, "Hey, thanks for coming to the open house," don't say, "Do you know anybody that wants to buy a house?" Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell a home? You ask them an open-ended question where they can't say no. Who do you know? It's the hoodoo voodoo. So if you do the hoodoo, remember hoodoo voodoo, who do you know that is interested in buying or selling a house? They can't say nobody. Well, they can say nobody, but you ask them who. Anyway, that's another whole rabbit hole. Be efficient and effective. Let's move on to the next one because we're almost. Review your safety tips, make a sign-in sheet, use third-party digital sign-in or use sign-in apps. Be friendly, knowledgeable, and approachable. All right, if you're not friendly, knowledgeable, and approachable, it's going to be a bad experience for the buyers. Partner up with somebody, and make sure you return a favor if you partner up with somebody. Have an arrangement. All right, make sure everybody's clear on what that arrangement is. We don't need agents fighting with each other over leads. Be safe and go sell something. Anybody got any questions? That wraps it up. I didn't see what start time is. Well, let's leave that going. Go, Heidi.
How do you overcome HOAs that won't allow signs at all? Do you think that it's enough when there are signs all over the place surrounding the neighborhood?
Yeah, so the question is how do you overcome HOAs? You're going to lose some signs. All right, so maybe the HOA police are on vacation, or I've lost signs. There's some theories out there. You can offer a 6-pack of Cokes to the person that you want to put a yard sign in, a directional on a corner. You can go knock on the door, 6-pack of Cokes, or set a 6-pack of Cokes in a card and say, "Listen, next Saturday or this Saturday, I'm going to put some yard signs. I'd appreciate it if you don't throw them away." So that's something you can do. If you plan on throwing my cards away, give me a call and I'll try something else. You're gonna lose signs. That's it. If the HOA says no signs, you better do postcards. So, any other questions? I'm leaving the videotape running, so the questions, I think, we're still running? Yeah, we're still running. So we can get these questions. Who has?
I got another one.
Go for it.
So your signs are very generic, just brokerage name and open house. Do you think there's any benefit or disadvantage to having your name and contact information on there?
Nobody's just gonna stop 45 miles an hour, pull over to the side of the road on an open house. The signs are gonna be out there for 2 hours. You basically wanna get that traffic to you. Your cards are gonna do that. You can do it, but if you start doing that, basically what you're doing is you're shrinking everything else.
Right.
So you want bright yellow, open house. I, like I said, would love the Fathom branding. Guys, if it's up to me and I'm gonna try to do this, I'm not sure this should be on the videotape, but I'm gonna try to get one of our partners to partner up with us. If we work with our lender partners, our attorney partners, and our insurance partners, we may be able to get them to supply us signs if you actually go out and do open houses. All right, we're not just gonna buy them for everybody because somebody will use it for target practice. So, anybody got anything else? Go, Cindy.
So if you were to do an open house, would you do Saturday, Sunday, both days, what times?
I've done Saturdays, Sundays, 2 to 4, 12 to 2. You got a church crowd that's leaving church, coming home after lunch. So if you do a 12 to 2, you're going to hit that crowd most likely. You can really do anytime. I've done them during weekdays. Now I know that sounds crazy, but back then we needed the leads, and we did them anytime we could do them. So if we had our choice of which houses, we'd actually map out the houses that we would go to figure out the one where we get the best walkthrough traffic on. So, but either day, Saturday and or Sunday. Holiday weekends are not a good idea because you're destined to go enjoy the holiday weekend.
My
Gabby?
question as a newer agent, when you're hosting for, another or more tenured agent and it's their listing, do you think going to these extreme and doing it for those, to me, is that something that I would do as a newer agent when it's not my listing?
All right, so I said something very important earlier. You are the CEO of your business. So I'm not gonna tell you yes or no. I would say, think about that.
Yeah.
Because if it's in your neighborhood and you,
Right.
So if it was my listing and you said, Rob, I wanna do a Go Bananas open house, I wanna do a mailer to 500 people, I'm gonna be jealous that you're doing it because I should have already been doing it.
Right.
But I would probably allow you to do that on my house.
Okay.
I can't say every agent's gonna
It's gonna do
allow
that,
you to do
right,
that.
right.
And then you gotta think, do I wanna pay $600 because my name's not on the sign?
Right.
Or $500 or $400 or whatever it is. So that's something you need to think about. You can get the drive-by traffic. The drive-by traffic, if you do enough signs, just with signs, we didn't do mailers back then. There was a whole lot of stuff we didn't do because technology wasn't there and cost a lot of money.
Right.
But just the walk-through signs, if you do enough signs, we'd have 60, 70, 100 people come through these houses. So it all depends on your cross traffic, all right? So if you hit on the Highway 41, something like that, man, line that median with open house signs. Nobody's gonna steal those signs because it's dangerous.
Right.
Make sure you have a partner helping you put them out.
For those.
All right, any other questions? All right, awesome. Thank you guys for coming. We're gonna end this now. Go Bananas, go Bananas. I appreciate y'all coming out. Eddie Bolin, thanks for being our sponsor today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Food was great. And we're gonna end this tape now, and I'll be around, hang around to answer